Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome to another Wrenching for Wellness chat. I usually put them up on Wednesdays. I'm here with my buddy I sail with, and who are you?
I don't know. I'm getting old, you know. No, I'm Bruce Goldsmith. I used to be a Marine engineer with the Navy and the Coast Guard. And anyway, I
Yeah,
like monkeying around
yeah.
with just about anything.
I know you do. I know you do.
It doesn't matter if it's wood or metal
Yeah.
or motorcycles. I started with bikes when I was like 17. That's 50 years ago now.
My goodness.
And that first bike I bought, I got screwed over real good by a real crafty man. Anyways, I paid $200 for a $50 motorcycle. It came in parts in the back of his car.
Oh my goodness.
But the great thing was I had my dad around, who was British and knew quite a bit about motorcycles, even though he didn't ride much.
Right.
But it came with an excellent owner's manual.
Oh wow.
I mean, that thing had exploded pictures of the engine, told you how to do every adjustment that you could possibly do on that bike. By the way, that was a CZ 175.
Made by
CZ, who was also Jawa. Same idea.
Okay. Okay.
But I think that thing was 8 horsepower or
Right.
something
Right.
like that.
Right.
It would go 50 miles flat out, laying on the gas tank, and you'd leave a smoke screen behind you that would make James Bond proud.
That's awesome.
That's
But just think, if you would have got it all together and running, your wrenching wouldn't have started with this first bike.
I'd have started with something else then. But like I say, it was a project, and I tell you that one. Once I got it running, it was kind of like out of the frying pan and into the fire, because that thing, it was a two-stroke, and it spit a piston ring out the exhaust port one night just before I got my license, and jammed the engine up. So anyway, it was like, well, what do I do now? You can't get parts for these things, because back then there was no such thing as the internet.
Yeah.
And if you wanted parts for obscure bikes, you looked in the back of like Cycle Canada magazine and hoped that you found an ad, and then you'd write a letter off to some company on the other side of the world or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, couldn't get parts for it.
Jeez.
So then somebody said, well, I know a guy who smashed up a Suzuki 185. It's up there behind the Vina in Bridgewater. So I went up to have a look at that, and the front end was all destroyed on it. The engine had seized up, but it just from sitting around the rain and that.
Yeah.
So I got a hold of the fella who owned it, and he was quite happy to sell it to me for $100. So I took the engine out of that bike, and anyways, I had some real good friends who had fathers with cutting torches and big garages and that kind of thing. So anyway, we wound up putting that Suzuki 185 engine into that little CZ frame.
Yeah.
And I think we used the back wheel, anything shiny like the fender.
Yeah.
The seat was nice, so we used that.
Sure.
So anyway, we made this little kind of Frankenstein bike out of this thing. And I went from something that would go 55 flat out to something that would go 85 with somebody on the back and pull wheelies like nobody's business. So, yeah, I remember people saying, "Oh, you'll never be able to drive that bike; it won't go in a straight line and all this." But it was perfect.
My goodness.
It was a little bit, like I said, a little too much power for that frame.
Yeah.
Because I did get a couple of those tank slappers with it.
Right.
I learned just to.
But if anybody knew anything about Bruce, Bruce is a stickler for making things right. If it ain't right, it ain't right. Keep working at it. Gee whiz. And you're working on bikes all the time out here. You're the president of the Vintage Club.
Yep.
Atlantic Vintage Motorcycle Club.
Motorcycle Society.
So if you've got something that you're thinking you'd like to ride that's vintage and you want to be a part of a vintage group, well, this is the guy that's running the show. So look him up, find him. He's got a YouTube channel, Goldie's Garage.
Yeah.
So that's how you get a hold of Bruce. So in the Navy, how long did you do?
I did 20 years and a couple of days.
20 and a couple, right on.
That was my plan right from the time I got in. I said, I'll do 20 years if they treat me right.
Yeah.
Because, frankly, I was in it for the pension.
Sure, definitely.
Plus, you need a job to live.
Yeah, right? A little bit of traveling.
Yeah. didn't never really cared about that, you know.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, when I was Coast Guard,
Yeah.
you'd be gone to sea for 4 months at a time, at sea. If you got ashore to burn garbage on a gravelly beach, you thought you were in heaven.
Right.
And if you seen a female, didn't matter if she was 80 years old, she was awful pretty.
Because you've been
But
out so
at least
long.
in the Navy, I mean, I think the most time I ever spent actually at sea was maybe 3 weeks or something, and then we go into a port.
Oh yeah, yeah. They
you know, and
they
that
don't
sort of
stay out
thing.
long.
Yeah, so like I said, I used to tease a lot of guys. Navy guys don't know what it's like to go to sea.
Right.
It
So
was fun.
on a normal weekday or even a weekend or whatever, and you've just had supper and the dishes are done, and you're not interested in TV. What would you do? What would make you happy? What would you come and do?
I have a lot of things that I like to do. Oh God, I paint.
Mhm.
I play guitar and a bunch of other stringed instruments.
Yeah.
There's that I could do. I like to do woodwork. I'll go out there in the shop sometimes. Sometimes I'll make a piece of furniture. Sometimes I'll carve something out.
Right.
But right now I've got a boat hull that I'm doing up for a friend of mine.
Right.
And his father had this boat when he was a young man.
Right.
And I thought, I'll do the hull up for him because he wants to go sailing boats on Sullivan's Pond.
Oh yes.
I'll do up the hull
Yeah.
as a gift to him, and he can finish it off. And if he doesn't want it, I'll just keep doing it myself.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's that. Then there's coming out here in the shop. Sometimes I'll be most of the time I'm working on motorcycles out here.
So you're wrenching,
and sometimes I'll come across something like that. I still got that little four-eyed goofy kid that used to love shop class in school and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll look at something. I said, I can make one of those. I could buy one too, but I thought I'll just make it. So I'll stick something in the lathe there and turn that out, and I get just as much of a thrill out of making something on that lathe. Actually, way more of a thrill out of doing that than I do out of buying something.
Right.
And look, it gives you. A lot of people think that restoring bikes is just buying parts and putting them back together, but that's not it at all. There's also a lot of artistic skill goes into it because you can't always buy these parts. Sometimes you have to make them up yourself.
Sure.
And all you got to work with is a photograph.
Right.
So you have to work from that and use your head, use your hands, and come up with something that's going to actually work. You know.
I think one of your videos of a few weeks ago, you brought a push button starter for a Harley, for a starter starter. And I ran into the same problem. I bought one for my Sportster, but the cover didn't fit. It was the wrong size, wrong shape cover. That's the only one they sold, and it was just a push button on the starter. So Bruce made a bushing and used the old cover with the new parts from the push button, and was able to retrofit the starter to make it into a push button. And I thought to myself, wow, I've got one of them around here someplace. I have to do the exact same thing.
Well, this is where sleep comes in, because I had thought about machining that whole thing out of aluminum.
Wow.
And I thought, I can do that for Mike. And then anyway, the next day I was thinking about it. I went to bed and I woke up in the morning and I knew what I was going to do. I came out and I looked at the two pieces. I said, I can take these pieces off of that one. Thread a little sleeve from in there, solder that in, put that in there,
and bingo.
It was that much easier than machining the whole thing.
So my whole point of talking with people is to promote and try to encourage people to get away from their TVs and come out and wrench. Could be a motorcycle, lawnmower. It could be anything. Could be woodworking. Could be painting. Working in the garden. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to push the motorcycle, the wrenching, and I've got 3 motorcycles donated, 3 lift tables, and a big tool cabinet. And I'm just waiting to find a spot to do this. There's a lot of us that served in the military that came from mechanical trades, but when we retired, we might have retired to a condo or an apartment building and driving a new car, no hobbies, no tools, no workbench, no nothing, and got stuck. So if there was a place that had benches and toolboxes and stuff to wrench on, do you think that would be beneficial?
Yeah, for some people.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna poop on your idea because it's a good idea.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
Especially the whole idea, get the hell outdoors, get out of the damn apartment,
Yeah.
or find something to do with your time. Turning wrenches is not everybody's thing.
That's right.
I've known plenty of people who, when I was particularly into forces, who thought it would be fun to get an old bike maybe and start turning wrenches, and they took it half apart and realized that they didn't know how to put anything back together,
Right.
and just walked away from it, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not for everybody, but
Mhm.
there's other things to do besides wrenching. Get
Yeah.
the hell away from the damn TV.
100%.
And especially, I like a beer now and then.
Yeah.
But drinking beer for a hobby,
No, not
that's
good.
not a hobby. It will kill you eventually.
Yeah, it's not good.
Getting high all the friggin' time, so no big deal getting high once in a while. But I mean, I'm preaching here, like, but it's not a good hobby. It will burn your friggin' brain out,
Yeah.
and you'll wind up like Cheech Chong or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that
yeah,
if you
yeah.
overdo it.
Yeah, you're
But
right.
I mean,
you're
you
right.
know, we want to have
Well,
a beer
everything in
once in a while.
moderation.
Exactly.
Everything in
exactly.
moderation. Yeah. Well, right on.
Yeah, but get the hell away from the TV. Find something to occupy your time, other than just being spoon fed.
Yeah.
Your entertainment.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. They're spoon feeding you what they want you to know, and not giving you the whole picture. Anyways, we won't get into that side of politics right now. But I'm still a believer that there are a group of people out there that wrenching would be good for them, and not only
sometimes it's good. I always try to encourage people, like especially with kids.
Yeah.
If kids come around here and they're interested in that, I'll say to their mother and father, listen, cut him loose and send him down here anytime he wants to come.
Yeah.
Because I had 3 boys.
Yeah.
0 were interested in coming out here working on this stuff.
I don't think it's too late.
Sad, you know, but
I think it could happen still.
It might.
Yeah,
it might.
I think
like
it could
I said,
happen.
As they've gotten older, like I know my oldest boy, he's doing really, really well in the work he's doing.
Yeah.
And one of my youngest ones has shown an aptitude toward that sort of thing too.
Right.
So I kind of think that the day will probably come when he'll say, gee, Dad, I wish I would have spent more time up the shop.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Anyway.
Well, that was a good chat, and I hope it's hitting home for somebody or some of yous that you can get out and do stuff. Bruce gave us all kinds of different examples of what makes him feel good.
You go for a walk in the woods.
Yeah, you can.
I love doing that.
Yeah,
you get all stressed out sometimes from just crap going on in your life, or the wife's got you working on a project in the house that you don't want to do. Do a few hours on that, then go out in the woods, go for a walk.
Yeah, it's true.
Blow the cobwebs out of your head.
It's so true. It's so true. Anyways, I really appreciate you sharing your thoughts and having me out to your garage looking at all your cool stuff.
Well, I didn't say too much.
No, it's all good.
I tend to be a little bit blunt sometimes. It's gotten worse over the years.
That's fine. The older I get, the more I hate people.
Somebody told me one time, they said, Jesus, Bruce, you're brutal, but at least you're straightforward.
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's good quality. So anyways, all right, folks. So thanks for tuning in. And if you want to see a little explanation of what we got here, check out my other channel, This Old Chopper. And Bruce is going to be on that and talking about what he's got out here. All right, folks. Thank you, buddy. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Very much appreciated. And we'll keep doing this. All right, folks. That's it.
Go outside, wrench.